Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a VK2801-105. It's the Tier 6 German light tank. It's a premium and it's located on the south spawn of Halluf encounter under the command of heavy999. Well, the game started. Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the VK2801-105. It's a Tier 6 German premium light tank. It's located on the south spawn of Halluf encounter and it's under the command of heavy999. Game on! Well, this tank was taken out by Wargaming some time ago actually. I can't remember when it was, but it was discontinued. You couldn't use the 105mm gun on the VK2801 hull, which was still in the game, but it could only be armed with a 75mm gun instead, which was a bit of a disappointment because this tank was really good fun with the 105mm, and I'm glad they put it back into the game. But as a premium tank with the 105, it's so much more better than the one with the 75mm. It's basically a scaled down Panzer V or Panther. Oh, we just saw something he didn't want to see, that Panzer III. Yeah, the Panzer III Aslains 8 just suddenly saw the VK looking at him and thought, no, don't want to be there. And the BT is very, very cheeky and he's firing rounds in this direction, but he's not getting pens. Well, he got one pen, 45 hit points, but not very much. And now he's lost 402. That was a pen of him. Okay, well, this tank was a project that was started in June of 1943 by Guderian, and he's a rather famous German general, if you remember, the Panzer General Guderian. And when he started it, as he did to actually make a replacement for the Panzer IV, because the Panzer IV wasn't very good on all-round characteristics. This was supposed to be a light tank that could move quickly and still have some of the characteristics of a Panther tank. Now, it's, as it says, VK2801, it is 28 tons in weight, but it's got this 105mm gun, which is capable of 350 alpha, and it will do 64mm of pen with standard HE, or 53mm, yes, and with the heat rounds, it will go up to 350 with 104mm of pen. So it's a little bit of a monster when it comes to derping the enemy. He's waiting for that Strip 74 to come to sight. I think he's on the other pass, so you're not going to get it from that angle, but you might get Panzer IV, and he does! But he only gets 47 hit points from an HE round. Let's see if you can take him out with this one. Yeah, that's much better. So that's his first kill. Now the order was cancelled in October 1943 and production wouldn't have started until April 1945. So I think you can see that really they made the right decision to stop production, because after all it wouldn't really have had any effect upon the war at all, even if they had started to work, and they needed the mechanics to be working on other things. Well, he got a nice hit there on the Strip 74 for 384, which is a high roll. And I think now he's just trying to select the best place to ambush that Strip as it comes around the corner. And that's normally in these bushes here. But the Strip would detect him, so he's actually going to go round behind him. Now, the Strip might have a company by now. No, he doesn't. Okay, bye-bye, Strip. And that's the end of his game. So that's the second kill. Now, it was supposed to be a light tank design, bit of a recon vehicle, flak panzer, all that sort of thing, but it was, yeah, supposed to be 28 tons in weight, replaced the Panzer IV as a fast light tank, bit of jack of all trades. That Easy 8 seems to have forgotten who's fighting against, because he's so preoccupied by that Panzer by Aslains J, he forgot the VK was here and took a round. Enemy Arty's looking in this direction. A round just hit the heights just over the top of the battlements of the castle. And there doesn't appear to be many enemy over this side. And maybe all of them have been killed, or they just decided to go back to their own territory. Now this tank has fairly good view range, 380 meters. It has good gun depression as well, 10 degrees. Okay, M4A1 on his own, but he's going to have to lead the target to get the good shot, work it out. That's it, he stopped. And 65 hit points, well, standard reload time, 8.63 seconds. He's got 7.5. Oh, he got the rear of them. 7.6 seconds, and the M4A1 is down. So that means now there's only 5 enemies left. Potentially, he's already got a high caliber. He's got 20% of the enemy hit pool at the very least, so he might get it if he can keep the damage rate up. And I just saw an Arty trace coming from behind those buildings. Oh, and more enemy tanks. A Hetzer, he's got him by the ass. Yeah, one shot's all it takes for that guy because he's got very thin armor and he can just overwhelm him with one round. Now the M44, which is the enemy Arty, probably knows he's coming, but here's a Panzer Selbstfahrerfährte 9C, sorry. The 9C, which is of course the one they gave out for free. Lock on, and he's gone. But now we got the M44, he just fired at us and he got 196 off us, but we're going to reload before he does, and that's the end of him. So that's 5 kills. There's only 2 enemies left. He could actually get a top gun. Oh no, I spoke too soon. There's only 1 enemy tank left. It's a T-34 1941. So we know what sort of gun he's got because they're the ones with the 76mm gun. Okay. Knocking down those buildings wasn't for any particular reason. It is an encounter game. We are capping. But I'm sure that heavy999 wants that last kill so he can get his top gun. And I kind of get the feeling that he's right, that yeah, the enemy is just over the other side of the battlefield, but it's too late for him to get over there because he's just been wiped out by RT40. So this game is a victory. Here's the end of battle stats to that game, and it's an ace tanker for heavy999 in the VK2801 MIT 105 centimeter, with 10.5 centimeter L28 gun. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, 1 short of the top gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, and a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 5 exactly in this game. But yes, he did pick up the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and that was a win rate of 13,374, which is well more than Super Unicum. It's a lot more. It's very, very good indeed. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he's top of the table when it comes to damage easily. He's the only player to get over 2,000. He got 2,790 hit points. The next high scorer was the enemy VK2801-105 with 1,889. And the third highest damage went to that Striv 74 that he ambushed by coming around the corner and shooting him in the ass for 1,557. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those with 5. The next high scorer was the Striv 74 with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the M10 and the T-3485M on his own team, and that T-3485M got a scout, so obviously he spotted 9 enemy vehicles during the battle. When it came to base XP, he's got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,239 went to heavy999, 742 went to the M10 RBFM, 573 went to the T-3485M. The best on the enemy team is their Striv 74 with 490. Heavy fired 16 rounds in the game, got 15 direct hits and 7 pens, so he only got missed on 1 shot, and although he didn't get that huge number of pens, remember the penetration is not that great on this tank. It's a bit lackluster, but he did get 7 splashes on the enemy as well, 2,790 hit points, most of which is at close range because only 333 was at long range. 6 hits received from the enemy, 2 penetrations, 3 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash damage from the enemy. 190 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted one enemy vehicle, damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 5, and did 586 hit points of spotting assist and 15 defense points when he reset the cap. I think that was the BT7 that he was firing at. He earned 47,105 credits from the game, but he did fire some premium ammo and he did use some consumables. At least I think he used some premium ammo. I'll have to check back through that to see if he did have the full amount of ammo at the end of the game. Yes, he used consumables and that cost him 40,000, and as a consequence he made a small loss for the battle of 6,204 credits, 214 credits rather. 1,858 XP times 2 for the first victory, 558 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 4,275 experience points altogether. Yes, he did recover to win. Actually, it did look like they were falling back because they lost the northwest corner of the map and the enemy seemed to be coming in their direction, but after a few good solid hits on the enemy, he took out most of their attack force and it was just a matter of clearing up afterwards, and he did very nicely indeed, taking out that Hetzer, then getting the Panzer Selbstfeuerwehr to 1C, and then following that up by getting the Arty on top of that. So yes, a very good recovery by the team and by Heavy. Let's have a look at the armor for the VK2801. Well, here's a rather big picture, isn't it? Yeah, I'll bring that down to scale. You can see that it does have a rather nice dynamic shape, which actually lends itself to ramming the enemy. Even though it's a light tank, it can still ram, but I wouldn't trust it to do it too often, especially to heavy tanks, because I think you would come off worse. The armour on the front of the vehicle is fairly underwhelming. Only 50mm on the upper plate, but it's angled well enough to get 61mm. Lower plate again, 50mm, angled enough to get you 66.5. You can see that the turret is actually quite strong. Again, 15mm, because remember it's a light tank, so it needs to go fast, so they put less armour on it. The sides of the vehicle, 30mm, but you can see it's got a light angling, a small amount of it. It's not slab-sided, it's kind of angled, so although that's not going to actually bounce the shells, it's more than likely going to give you a bit of extra thickness. It's showing here 35 to 36 extra effective armour from that angling alone. Size of the turret, 30mm, that's all you're going to get. On the rear of the vehicle you can see 30mm, 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 so very thin on the armour all round. The only good place is at the front. You can probably angle it to get a bit more. Yes, you're getting, you see here with 50mm you're actually getting about 70 if you're angling it lightly, but I wouldn't take it as read that you will definitely get a bounce or block shots. So it's better to actually be quick, get a shot in, pull out quickly, or just move past the enemy so he can't turn to face you. Let's have a look at the modules. Well, I'm showing the modules because for the one with the 75mm gun, the VK2801, because Wargaming haven't given the module layout for the one with the 105mm gun, but it is the same tank, just with a different gun. So the best thing we can do is just look at the module layout for this one, and obviously just consider that it would be the same for the one with the 105mm gun. Driver at the front on the right hand side, gunner's mate, or radio operator you should say, on the left hand side next to the radio set. We've got a big ammo rack running down the sides of both sides of the vehicle, and so it should be easily enough to aim for the side of this vehicle and pop that ammo rack if you can. Driver, a gunner rather, is on the right hand side of the turret. Loader on the left hand side of the turret. If we turn the turret around, you can see they're both basically on opposite positions. The loader will obviously be taking shells out of this rack round this side as the ready rack, rather than the other side of the vehicle. But the commander, the TC, is right in the centre behind the breach, but there was enough protection for him. Even if the shell came back quickly, it wouldn't catch him in the gonads and make him sing in the sopranos. It would actually, there's a guard there to actually protect him from being hit. But he is sitting in a raised seat, which means his head is in that cupola, which means he can see the enemy, but it also means that it's fairly easy to hit that cupola and take him out of the equation. So that's a good target to aim for. If we look at the back of the vehicle, we can see fuel tanks either side of the engine. The transmission is actually at the front because, of course, front wheel drive for German tanks. And there's the transmission sitting right in front of the driver and the radio operator. So engine at the back, transmission at the front, shaft going right through the vehicle. I think this one did have a torsion bar suspension. I'm not 100% sure about that, but don't take it as read. But I think that's how it operated. And of course, those fuel tanks should be fairly easy to hit as well. So if you don't hit the ammo rack, you're more than likely going to hit a fuel tank and get a fire. So if you delay the shell slightly so you can aim for the rear of the vehicle, put the round into the engine bay, you're more than likely to get a fire. But if you aim it just a little farther forward and you're auto aiming on it, you're more than likely going to get a fire, an ammo rack. So worth considering that. So that's the layout of the modules in the VK2801 with the 75mm, but we think it's the same for the 105. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do remember that all the profits from this channel are going to help the Red Cross with the Ukrainian refugees at the moment. We're not going to take anything out of the from Google AdSense. Every penny will go there, and we will provide proof to show that that money is going to the Red Cross Ukraine appeal. We've already donated over £40, and we will continue to do so as Google sends us future payments. So please do watch as many videos as you can, or even send in some of your own if they're good enough, and we'll put them up on YouTube, and then you'll be helping to send money to the Ukrainians. Thanks for watching.